going on, everybody? Joe from Total Justice Gaming here with a new deck profile for you guys. This time it's my Thunder Empire deck. My Thunder Empire deck is not like the normal one because this is a wrestling-themed Thunder Empire deck. And as such, I'll be using some wrestling terminology because obviously, first and foremost, my buddy is not bots, but Steel Ball Wielder Hogan. Which, if you go to Wikipedia or Buddyspoiler and look at this card, he looks like Hulk Hogan. Like, down to the bandana on top of his head. But because of this, I got really interested in Thunder Empire, which, for those of you that have been watching the channel, I really don't play Dragon World. Like, if ever. I think I only have had one Dragon World deck the entirety of my BuddyFight career. That's my Shinsengumi deck. So this really surprised a lot of the people at locals that was really interested in playing this. So, we're going to hop right into it. So, naturally, I play 4 of the buddy. We call him Hogan. So we play 4 of him. Hogan is a 5/2/5 with an ability that says choose a Thunder Empire on your field, which is very important. And you may pay 1 gauge. If you do, for this turn, the chosen card gets +1 crit and penetrate. You can only use it once per turn. So right off the bat, I'm using Hogan because Hogan gives other cards the rub. For those of you that don't know what that is, that means make cards better than what they really are and make them go over easier, stand out more. So once per turn, you can pay a gauge, and Hogan gives the rub to another card. And it means any card on the field, meaning you can even target your weapons, which for Thunder Empire, a lot of the stuff gets double attack, so that means you're getting +1 crit and penetrate and up to double or even triple attack in some cases. So we run naturally 4 of him. Next up, we run what I call Undertaker. This is Misfiring Demon Globes. He's a 3/1/1. Let me read his ability real quick. Split the reward. When another Thunder Empire monster enters the field, put gauge 1 and draw 1. It only activates once per turn, and when he attacks for this turn, a card in your field gets +1 crit. So just like Hogan, whenever Undertaker attacks, and I'm calling him Undertaker because this is probably what Undertaker does dress like when he's not thinking. If you've ever seen pictures of the Undertaker when he's off duty and out of character, he's usually lounging around in a cowboy hat, some pretty decent clothing, and got a bottle of Jack in front of him. So, like Hogan, he gives a card the rub whenever he attacks. And you also get, whenever someone comes into play and helps him out, he gets to give you a gauge, and you get to draw a card. So we run 3 of him. Like all good professional wrestlers, sometimes you need a manager because you're not quite the mouthpiece, and this is where replenishing Pinter comes in. He's another size 1. I play 4 of him at 3/2/1. And when this card enters the field, if I have a Thunder Empire item equipped, I get to draw a card. So he's kind of your mouthpiece for your other units. He gets to come in, gives you a gauge, swing a little for distraction, then gets booted out pretty quick. Next up, we got 4 of what I'm calling Shockmaster. He's a 5/1/4. Call cost is pay gauge. He can't attack the left or the right, so he's only going straight to the face, and he gets double attack. Reason for the Shockmaster is just because he's a double circle of shock. He's not really bright enough to be able to swing left or right. He can only go straight at you. And he attacks double, meaning he stumbles that first time, falls down, gets back up, and hits you again. Next up, we got Raid Officer Delta. I jokingly call this one Sergeant Slaughter because he's the only one that actually mentions he's military. And those big old arms, I think he's definitely slaughtering somebody. So he's a 6/1/1. When he attacks, if I have a another Thunder Empire on the field, I get to gauge 1. So it gives me a resource, swings above numbers because he's a 6, and gets me gauge, which is very important. And what wrestling deck would not be complete without a foreign object? So I'm using Boomerang Dragon. Well, he's just Boomerang Dragon, really. So he's a 1/1/1 that says if I have 3 life or less, he becomes a 1/2/1. And at the end of the battle, when he's attacked, he comes back to hand. So, like any heel wrestler in professional wrestling, after he uses that thrown object, it was never in the ring. For weapons, I'm using 4 DualShock. Much like my Shockmaster card, these clippers here, even though they're dual daggers, they are looking a little bit like Brutus the Barber Cape clippers. They get to double attack. They can attack left to right, but we have plenty of ways of making these things up to at least 3 crit if we use Hogan, because Hogan can target these. Undertaker can target these, making these a 5/3 with penetrate and double attack. Really, really deadly combination. Next up, and just I put this in there. I know the sword is better, guys. I do know the sword is better. Sword is in sideboard, but I'm a huge Mr. Fuji fan, so I had to put the cane in. And also, since this deck is not very focused on low life, we actually do get to take advantage of gaining life with the cane, or blowing up a size 1 with the cane. Our finishing hold is, of course, Thunder X Tempest, meaning they don't get to regain life once they're at 5. You get to do the tag team finish, or just the finish in particular. They are completely dead. It's very easy to pull off. We get a very large amount of gauge. We are very easily going to get the item running 7 weapons. It's very, very easy to get them down because we do focus on a lot of double attack and very heavy crit and being able to penetrate quite a bit. So we get to play Thunder X Tempest very quickly. My spells, we run 4 Blue Dragon Shield because, again, guys, gauge is important. We need the gauge for some call costs. We need gauge to run Thunder X Tempest, equip any of the weapons. So I decided to go with 4 Blue Dragon Shield. Next up is the newest Dragon Shield. I run 4 Arc Dragon Shields because resources, nullifying an attack, and drawing a card as a result of it is very, very good. We also run 2 the generic green. Just gains us life. Since we're not really worried about getting ourselves to low life, I may consider upping this to 3 and running 3 blues, 3 greens, 4 arc. But I'm doing okay right now with just 2. We're running 4 Link X bots. We'll read here real quick because it is rather wordy. Only cast this card if I have attacked 3 or more times. As I've expressed, we get that very easily as we can get up to 5, possibly 6 attacks. I get to look at the top 3 cards among them of your deck, put 1 in my hand, the rest in the gauge, and I gain a life. So I just can increase stability. I get to scry 3 essentially. Then get 1, the rest goes to the gauge, which I've already expressed the importance, and we get to gain a life. Next up, I'm running Heaven's Sunshine. I'm running that at a 2 of. Again, I need to snag one because it's wordy. So I get to call cost, the casting cost is pay a life. I destroy a monster on the opponent's field. If you do, I can call up to 1 dragon or guardian monster of the same size as that monster from my deck by paying its call cost and shuffle the deck. Can only be cast once per turn. The majority of my deck is size 1, so I get to target the field size 1s. I get to target size 2 and get me Hogan. Not a lot of the cards actually have a call cost, as you guys have seen, very few. It just lets me put things into play. Again, lets me get a lot of consistency with the deck, get what I need, get them into play, and set up for the next turn, while also getting some field destruction. And then I'm running 2 Hiding Bomber to finish it out. All wrestling shows need a little pyro, so we are using Dragon Spell Hiding Bomber. The casting cost is pay gauge. It's counter speed, which makes us even better. I can return a monster with 5,000 or less, or destroy it. This is really important in some of the other matchups, mirror matches for Dragon World. Bots is running around. He's very dangerous, and since he can't be destroyed on the opponent's turn, you can bounce him back to the opponent's hand, as it's not considered destruction. At least not to my knowledge. But at the same time, we also get rid of just a bunch of problem cards because 5,000 defense is everywhere on a lot of cards. And we get rid of them pretty much outright. So that is my Dragon Empire, or as I call it at the shop, my Thunder Empire Wrestling deck. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I will see you guys soon. Take it easy, brother.